Hello once again, and welcome back to another episode of the Farmasia VR project documentary. All right, enough silliness. It's time to get serious and show you what we've accomplished since the last demo. As you might remember, Farmasia VR is a virtual reality game developed for Helsinki University's Faculty of Pharmacy, in which students are taught how to operate in a laboratory environment. The project was started back in 2018 with the goal of creating a new and more intuitive way to teach important lab skills. When the project was handed over to us, the membrane filtration and medicine preparation side was almost finished, and the previous team had begun work on the fire safety side.
Nice.
Our job was to continue development of the fire safety aspect of the game by creating realistic fire scenes in the laboratory. Our client also wanted us to improve the 3D model of the laboratory by correcting the dimensions and adding details such as bookshelves, cabinets, and signs to make it more realistic. In sprints 3 and 4, we faced some initial challenges with lighting but successfully resolved the light baking issue, which significantly improved the game's visual appeal. We also improved game mechanics by preventing the player from teleporting with objects in hand and through fire, adding realism and challenge. The smoke buildup effect was also enhanced, which brought an added depth to fire scenarios. Additionally, we crafted new 3D models, paying attention to small details in the laboratory, like a no-entrance sign, books for shelves, and a coat rack. Sprint 5. Performance improvements were a key focus in the 5th sprint. For some reason, we were getting poor frame rates on the MetaQuest 2. Initially, we thought that the fire system may be computationally too taxing, but after a hefty amount of Googling, we realized that the issue was actually related to the 3D models. We found out that the recommended total poly count, or quality of all 3D models for MetaQuest 2 VR games, is less than 1 million. So we had to reduce the quality of most of our existing 3D models. This immediately improved the frame rate. In addition to performance improvements, we also created 3D models for a computer, ceiling lights, and a yellow cabinet. We also fixed the floor material and addressed the laboratory dimensions for added accuracy. Lastly, we decided on a menu system for future scenarios and added some furniture to the menu room. We also added rubber ducks, to whom we can explain all our problems, and a baseball bat for batting practice, of course. Sprint 6. Our main task in this sprint was creating new scenarios to teach students how to use the laboratory safety equipment. Based on talks with the client, we came up with the following 3 new emergency scenarios: an acid spill scenario on clothes, an acid spill scenario on eyes, and a sudden fire at a workstation. Emergency shower scenario. This scene simulates a chemical spill emergency on clothes to train students in finding and using the laboratory's emergency showers. After the player clumsily spills sodium hydroxide on themselves, they are instructed to find the nearest emergency shower and rinse off. Once the player has showered for more than 5 seconds, the level is completed. Emergency eye shower scenario. This scene trains the player to use the laboratory's eye showers. The player is instructed to put a bottle away into the fume closet. When the player moves towards the closet, they bump into another student, spilling acid into their eyes. The player then has to find an eye shower and clean their eyes with it. Once they have cleaned their eyes, the level is completed. Fire extinguisher scenario. The idea of this scene is to simulate an accident when working with the Bunsen burner. The player leaves their workstation to get some coffee.
What are you doing? Go back to your workstation.
But when they return, the Bunsen burner has gone wild. The player now has to find an extinguisher and put out the fire. Once the fire is out and the Bunsen burner has been turned off, the level is completed. During this sprint, we also continued optimizing performance, upgraded the fire hose so that it can be used at different lengths, and created a hallway in the menu room that contains all of the firefighting equipment and their instructions. The completion of the first general safety scenarios, along with the hallway for firefighting equipment, marked significant milestones in our project. The final sprint. Our final sprint mostly consisted of finishing touches here and there, as well as comprehensive documentation. Among other things, we finished an upgrade to the fire extinguisher's visual effect and resolved issues with the emergency exit light. We also created a laboratory tour scene, where the player can familiarize themselves with the locations of important safety equipment in the laboratory. However, most of our focus was on documentation and preparing instructions for the next group to ensure a smooth transition and continuity for future development. This project has definitely been a great adventure of all sorts of emotions. As a team, we have stuck together through thick and thin, with only a few members being almost lost to dark forces. While the project seemed hard and scary at first, especially given that only a few members of our team had earlier experience with Unity and 3D modeling, everyone in our team was eager to learn and develop their skills throughout the project, and in the end, we were able to create some pretty impressive scenarios, considering our background. All in all, we enjoyed the project very much and would like to thank you guys for tuning in once again. Peace out.